Hi, I'm Simon Doull and welcome to the last episode in this series of Kiwi Bred, coming to you from the iconic Cambridge stud right in the heart of the New Zealand thoroughbred breeding industry. And first up this week, it's a chat with stud manager Marcus Corban about Cambridge Stud's exciting new stallion, Cape Blanco. Marcus, Cape Blanco's arrival in New Zealand has sparked a lot of interest. How did the deal come about with Coolmore Stud?
It was a long, drawn-out process. Patrick had the offer of 2 or 3 really nice horses from Coolmore. This is one that we've always kept an eye on, and we started negotiating with him at the Karaka sales, and it took 4 months, and we finally got a deal that meant that he could stay here for 5 years, and everything else that Patrick wanted in the deal, similar to what we did with Coolmore with Stravinsky, and we finally got it done, and here he is now.
He's a world-class horse, 5 Group 1s in Europe and in the States. What was his appeal as a racehorse?
We've always wanted a son of Galileo, because we have Tavistock who's Montjeur, and this horse sort of ticked all the boxes. He had great acceleration. He was a real English Derby contender till he got hurt, and he was a great physical presence about him. We didn't go and see him because we were very busy, and all reports that Michael Kerwin gave us and Christy Grassick, so he ticked all the boxes. Patrick just loved his pedigree because he has a double up of Special, which does work very well with Zabeel, Sir Tristram Lion horses, and so that fell into place, and it's just been, since we've signed the deal, New Approach has just blown Europe apart. He just left the Group 1 win, I think, last weekend. He's a son of Galileo, and they're really just firing on all cylinders. So if you ever could have perfect timing, this bloke's done it.
So you think the pedigree will fit really nicely with New Zealand mares?
Exactly, and with that double up of Special, which was also in Sir Tristram's pedigree, and the physical presence of the horse, he'll, the breeders have really supported him, and we're really excited.
He looks fantastic, doesn't he? Type and conformation, your impressions on that?
Oh, well, like when he came off the float the day before our open day and just walked off like he owned the place, and he's put on some weight and he's just settling in. He ticks all the boxes. He's got enough bone, he's got a lovely overreach, beautiful head, great shoulder, and just typical of Coolmore. They buy them as yearlings with pedigree and the great individuals, and he ticks all the boxes.
Has he adapted well from racehorse to stallion?
Look, he bred a big book at Ashford in Kentucky, and look, he's settled in here. He's got some big numbers to breed here, and he's good in the breeding shed, and he's settling down all the time. Look, he'll serve in excess of 130 mares. We'll breed 30 of our best mares to him as well, the likes of Diamond Like, Katie Lee, Glamorous Girl, Pride of Tralee, so they'll all be going to him. We've got mares that are capable of Marquisa, Prize Gem, the Dam of Nom de Jure. He's got about another 7 or 8 Group 1 winning producing mares, so he sort of, once he arrived, and everyone that's seen him, instead of booking 1 mare, they've booked 2, and then they've come in and out, and as you see today, he's just a real great specimen.
So you've signed up for 5 years at the moment, and with a view of maybe looking to more if he's successful?
Look, 5 years is a long time in this sport. It all depends on the boss's health and what he wants to do, but he will fit the niche very well for Cambridge in the next 5 years. And with Zabeel sort of in his twilight, and Keeper's doing a good job, Stravinsky's there, and Tavistock's got to prove himself, he'll just fit into our niche, what we need for the next couple of years.
And the $20,000 service fee, how much discussion was there around that, and why did you settle on $20,000?
Well, we find that we want to keep him at that for the next couple of years. We're a lot of, you could have filled him at 25 easy, and then, so if we sort of keep him around the 20, that means that, next year we might keep him at that, or we might put him at 18, but it's not, a lot of farms are sort of, get them all the first year. We'd rather just steadily have the backing of the people to him over 3 to 4 years, and it's worked previously with all our horses.
Cape Blanco looks like he's going to be a great addition to the New Zealand stallion roster. Now, courtesy of International Animal Health Products, it's time to look at the last of our 3-part series in the limb conformation in young horses. We must say a big thanks to Tim Pearce and his team at Southern Rangitikei Veterinary Services.
Is it possible that you can have a foal that's born at birth with perfectly straight legs and a couple of months later out in the paddock we see issues start to evolve?
Yes, it is, unfortunately. And, there's a number of reasons for that. Some of them, it's to do with growth or they may be injured or, who knows, genetics. We don't, there's a lot of them that just pair overnight. I think there are, for those sorts of horses, it's just constant monitoring really. And my own personal belief is that a lot of the pastures, particularly in this local area, are extremely good and often they just grow like, mushrooms basically, and it becomes very difficult to manage them. And once they get to a certain point and over a certain point and angle, the loading is what does it and it pushes them further. There is another critical time through weanlings going onto yearlings. We see frequently a problem that arises as the spring grass starts to grow. And in this area we get a lot of horses that will actually buckle out and push their knees out in that sort of late October, November, December period when they start to really grow again because of, I guess it's because of high protein and high growth rates in the grass. And some of these foals, yearlings, can buckle and bend their legs in a matter of a week, and you think you've got a perfectly good specimen. Next thing, it's pushing both knees out. So, I think vigilance is important right through the whole process from the time they're born, until they really start to settle down and then stop growing. Just going back to those valgus knees, there's been a lot of things that have been done over the years to manage them beyond dealing with confinement and changing their loading. There are surgeries that are done, and I think that many people will have heard of P-strips and things like that have been done over the years to try and allow that growth plate to catch up on the other side that's slower. We've also used screws and wires and things to try and surgically slow down the side that's growing too fast. All that stuff takes a lot of management. It's expensive. If you can do it without that, it's good as well. So people that are onto it get onto them early and often never get to the point of needing surgery. There are other things that have been used over the years as well, and more recently we've been using shockwave therapy on growth plates as well, with encouraging results.
Can you explain what you mean by the foal's growth plate?
Every young animal, the long bones grow from a point near the end of the bone. It's an area of tissue that has a rapidly dividing number of cells, and that's where they lengthen from. And basically a foal's leg will wobble as it grows, or so will a young person, a young human or a calf or whatever. And quite often that area is quite a soft area of the body, and it's basically just developing new bone, which is stacking itself and lengthening out as the foal gets older.
In your opinion, if foals are looked at early at birth and monitored through that early growth period in their life and managed well, can a lot of this be prevented?
Absolutely, and I don't think that, none of us wish to be doing surgeries on them, and I think that many of the ones that were done are the real tip of the iceberg as far as the surgeries are concerned. If there's good management and early recognition of any problem with an angular limb deformity in a young horse, you've got a much better chance of doing a good job and correcting it by just management of the horse rather than having to resort to surgery. So yeah, that's a very important part of getting a good result in your horse as it grows.